Several cars torched at a Tesla facility in Las Vegas by a suspect using Molotov cocktails. Tonight, authorities are describing this as a targeted attack.
The suspect approached the business wearing all black clothing, and he used what appear to be Molotov cocktails and a firearm to conduct his attack.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. That early morning fire at a Las Vegas Tesla collision center comes at a time when the company's CEO, Elon Musk, is facing growing criticism for his role in the Trump administration and efforts to slash federal spending. So far, authorities are not commenting on a possible motive in this case. They are saying a suspect caught on camera started these fires intentionally, and authorities say others may also have been involved. No arrests have been made at this point. One unignited Molotov cocktail was recovered from inside a damaged car at the scene, and that's now being processed for evidence. This, of course, is the latest in a string of cases in which Teslas have been vandalized. Today, FBI agents sent a message to potential copycats.
One thing that I wanted to highlight and make crystal clear, especially in light of reporting that's been ongoing around the country about similar incidents, targeted attacks at Tesla facilities, is that violent acts like this are unacceptable regardless of where they occur. And specifically to those who might think that something like this is justifiable or potentially even admirable, we want to let you know it's a federal crime. We will come after you, we will find you, and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
Now, Musk posted on social media today calling the Las Vegas fires, quote, terrorism. Tesla stock was down another 5% today. Those losses come on an overall down day for investors on Wall Street. The Dow lost 260 points. The Nasdaq dropped by 304, and the S&P 500 was down by 60 points. Across the country and here in the West, Democratic lawmakers today put the focus on potential cuts to Medicaid that have been laid out in the recently passed federal budget blueprint. The budget resolution proposes an $880 billion cut from federal energy and health care programs over a decade. The lawmakers say Medicaid cuts will pay for extending tax cuts for mainly wealthy Americans. Senator Maria Cantwell from Washington spoke at a hospital in Seattle.
Medicaid funded $3.3 billion worth of hospital care in Washington state. So our hospitals like Harborview, Seattle's Children, Fred Hutch, Evergreen, and many others rely on that payment.
Because it's looking at all of these people and it's saying, we don't care about you. And that is not American. Those are not our values.
And the woman you heard from there, Whitney Storr, says Medicaid funding has covered her 7-year-old son's health expenses that her family could not afford on their own. In Southern California, hundreds of people rallied outside the office of Orange County Congresswoman Young Kim in Anaheim Hills today. She is among the House Republicans who voted for President Trump's budget blueprint last month. Advocates say more than 150,000 people in Kim's district rely on federally funded health care, including seniors, children, and people with disabilities.
Grandson Elijah, he is 7 years old. He has cerebral palsy. His medication is $5,000 a month. So cutting Medicaid, Medi-Cal would be devastating. It wouldn't just be an eruption of his life. It would be risking his life.
And Congresswoman Kim said in a statement that she would not vote for a budget that cuts Medicaid services. House Republicans are hoping to get the budget measure through Congress in early May, but their majority is razor thin. Tonight, a Southern California community is mourning the loss of a sheriff's deputy who died after crashing during a pursuit. And he's now been identified as Hector Cuevas Jr. As Fox 11's Christy Fajardo reports now, the suspect he was chasing after has a long history of run-ins with the law.
Marceline Demian has a broken finger and her whole body is sore from yesterday's crash. But she says her thoughts keep turning to the family of Deputy Hector Cuevas Jr., who was killed by the impact.
I feel sorry for his family. I know he has two kids and a wife and 2 siblings. I feel really sorry for them.
She says the light had just turned green at Seneca and Elevado, and she was about to make a left turn when Cuevas' cruiser struck the front of her car.
I was about to turn left, and then the cop came right in front of me. And he had no siren, no lights, nothing.
She says she didn't see any other cruisers or cars fleeing, but the sheriff's department says deputies were pursuing this man, Ryan Turner, who was in a stolen vehicle. What's more, they say in January of last year, the 22-year-old led Rialto police on a high-speed pursuit, topping 90 miles an hour, where a police cruiser collided with another car. And even after he was arrested, they say Turner tried to run from police while handcuffed. He took a plea deal and served only 8 months of a 16-month sentence. And they say yesterday he was at it again, this time leaving one family grieving and a survivor who says her life has changed forever.
Nothing worse, their life.
Condolences are now pouring in from all over the state. Cuevas was a college football player and former Upland police officer and is described as a cop's cop. In a statement, the union representing San Bernardino County deputies told us Hector Cuevas was a deputy who loved his job and felt pride in providing justice to the community. He brought that joy with him to work on every shift. He took his responsibilities very seriously, of course, but he still remained a funny and uplifting partner. A partner like Hector is what makes the sometimes grueling aspects of the job much more rewarding.
And that was Fox 11's Christy Fajardo reporting tonight. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office says Deputy Cuevas dedicated his life to protecting his community, and his sacrifice will never be forgotten. We turn now to a sad update on the storms hitting Oregon this week. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says a woman was killed after being swept away in a flooded creek north of Medford. Deputies say she was trying to remove debris from a culvert underneath her driveway when fast-moving water pulled her through that culvert and into a creek. First responders have recovered her body. Heavy rains have created widespread flooding and caused landslides across southern Oregon. Today, dust storms created near zero visibility in some parts of New Mexico. Look at the scene here. Images posted online show the dangerous driving conditions south of Albuquerque this afternoon. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Rosemary Orozco, who is tracking those conditions that caused that dust storm there, and also, Rosemary, snow falling from the Grand Canyon up to the Pacific Northwest today.
Yes, Alex, that active weather that California had yesterday now in the desert Southwest and the Intermountain West creating havoc there. So we shift in a little bit closer over towards the New Mexico area and Arizona. Red flag warning now until midnight for parts for very dry, gusty conditions. Meanwhile, the blowing snow continues with the advisory here, at least for a little while longer, until about 9 o'clock Mountain Time. The visibility, as you said, down to even quarter mile in some areas, and just really tough with winds gusting to 65, 70 miles per hour in this area, and wind advisories lasting a little while longer. But you can see expiring tonight, which means improving conditions are coming. If we shift into areas over Utah as well as Colorado, winter weather advisory as snow is piling up here. The snow that fell over the Sierra Nevada yesterday now getting a little bit of a break. There is a wind advisory in areas over Nevada. And then as we shift over towards the California area, these are frost advisories for tomorrow morning ahead of another storm that is going to bring more wet weather to the west by tomorrow afternoon and evening. But San Francisco today got a break, 59 degrees, partly cloudy skies, a pretty day out there, and in Seattle looking good as well. A gorgeous view for you, 50 degrees the afternoon high. So winter still in effect for a little while longer. Here's a view of the Futurecast model. Tomorrow morning, we start out with mostly cloudy skies, but still mainly dry. This is what is coming ashore late in the day, expected to bring wet weather to areas over Washington, Oregon, Northern California, slipping into the Bay Area and then into the Sierra. Tomorrow will be the final day of winter, but as we get into the first day of spring on Thursday, notice the Pacific Northwest. It's a soggy one and it's a chilly one. Temperatures will be in the upper 40s to about 50 degrees. Meanwhile, the state of California sitting pretty with San Francisco in the upper 50s to low 60s, and Southern California enjoying 70s for the first day of spring. As we head over towards the desert Southwest, plenty of sunshine, temperatures in the mid 70s tomorrow, low 80s for the first day of spring. Alex?
All right, Rosemary, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, new information emerging about what may have sparked the destructive Eaton fire in Southern California, the growing focus on a so-called zombie power line. Also, AI turns into a messenger for Arizona's Supreme Court. See how justices are pulling off a first in this country with their use of avatars.
Hi there. I'm Victoria, one of the Arizona Supreme Court's new AI reporters.
Ahead of Arizona's first execution in more than 2 years, Catholic bishops from across the state gathered to hold a vigil late today. Aaron Gunchez is set to be executed by lethal injection tomorrow. He was sentenced to death for the 2002 killing of his girlfriend's ex-husband. Bishop Eduardo Navarez led tonight's crowd in prayer for the victims of violent crime and aggressors. He issued a statement saying execution, quote, furthers a culture of death that is all too common in our society and is something that we are called to reject. Now we turn to a new report about power lines that showed signs of strain ahead of January's firestorm in Southern California. The New York Times obtained data from a company that maintains electrical sensors in the region. It suggests Southern California Edison's transmission network was stressed hours before that extreme wind event. One of the faults it detected was in the Altadena area just minutes before the Eaton fire began. The fault time is in sync with video from a gas station that recorded flashes of light in the area of transmission lines. Los Angeles County has sued Southern California Edison, alleging the utility's electrical equipment caused that destructive fire. And tonight, Fox's Max Gordon reports that investigators are focused on a so-called zombie power line in the Eaton fire area.
Behind me are the transmission towers and power lines that may hold the key to what started the deadly Eaton fire here in Altadena, California. This week, Southern California Edison crews will be climbing these towers, inspecting them, and taking photos and video. It was underneath these transmission towers where fire was first spotted on the night of January 7th. These are pictures taken from that evening just after 6 p.m. by one of the first people to spot the flames, Jennifer Errico. Errico says that the fire quickly spread down the hill from underneath the transmission towers, fanned by 70-mile-per-hour winds, dropping embers the size of fists. The fire would eventually claim the lives of 17 people and destroy more than 6,000 homes. Lawyers estimate thousands of plaintiffs are alleging Southern California Edison is to blame. Yesterday, lawyers representing those plaintiffs met with Edison's lawyers at an LA courthouse for a case management conference.
Investigation is focused on some particular towers in Eaton Canyon, and in particular there's one tower that had been essentially abandoned, and the investigation is looking at how the electricity moved to re-energize that equipment, cause arcing, and spark the fire that destroyed so many lives.
Some lawyers argue a surge caused arcing at the tower, causing a piece of metal to fall.
Now that 1,500-degree molten steel falls onto the dry brush and vegetation on the ground and catches fire. This paints a very clear picture of the start of the Eaton fire.
Edison officials are looking into this zombie line theory, first highlighted in the Wall Street Journal, where a dead power line may have unintentionally been brought back to life. A spokesperson for Edison confirmed they're looking into this theory this week, starting with a detailed inspection. Edison estimates the full investigation will take months to complete. If SoCal Edison is found to be at fault, it's unclear what the final payout could be, but some estimates say the fire could cost the utility billions of dollars. In Altadena, California, Max Gordon, Fox Business.
A Northern California community is mourning the loss of a fire marshal who died while snorkeling in Hawaii. Chief Lucas Shepard from the El Dorado County Fire Protection District died last week during a trip to the island of Kauai. His friends called 911 after realizing he was missing, and first responders later found him unresponsive in the water. An autopsy will determine Shepard's exact cause of death. Authorities do not suspect foul play. Lucas joined the El Dorado County Fire Protection District in 2006. He was 43 years old. City leaders in Scottsdale, Arizona are facing criticism over how they ended the city's diversity, equity, and inclusion program. Fox 10's Ashley Rodriguez spoke to one city council member about the controversy and what this change means moving forward.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, sir.
The night Scottsdale City Council ended its diversity, equity, and inclusion program in February was a contentious one. But council members who voted against terminating DEI say the tension wasn't over Scottsdale's hiring practices, which have always been merit-based. It was over how the city opted to end the program and why.
This ordinance was done behind the scenes without a public process and serves no purpose. It does not eliminate DEI hiring because the city has never had DEI hiring.
Taking a closer look at the DEI transition plan released this month, it says the decision eliminates the Office of DEI and the use of city funds, which spent under $300,000 in 2022 and 23 out of a $2 billion budget. That money mainly paid for 2 DEI and ADA positions, which are eliminated, but the people will be moved to other departments.
With no cost savings and no changes in policies, there have been no public benefits. However, with this memo, we have opened an entire can of worms.
Take a look. Scottsdale is eliminating sponsorships with organizations like the NAACP and Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Juneteenth celebrations, employee resource groups that include Veterans of Scottsdale, Scottsdale Women for Inclusion, Black Employees for Opportunities, City of Scottsdale Christian Alliance, Scottsdale Hispanic Network, Scottsdale Pride, and Disability Support.
I read it to mean that Holocaust remembrance programs are no more at the City of Scottsdale. Or what about a festival celebrating Native Americans?
Is there something going forward the council can do to clear up the confusion with constituents?
She says her goal is to set up a community task force to define which programs are worth keeping and go from there.
Everybody I know agrees that our programs at the city are wonderful, and everybody that I've met agrees that we should have merit-based hiring, which we do. So this entire effort has really divided the City of Scottsdale residents on issues they absolutely agree on.
Ashley Rodriguez, Fox 10 News.
Arizona's Supreme Court is getting credit for implementing what's believed to be a first for artificial intelligence in a court system.
Hi there. I'm Victoria, one of the Arizona Supreme Court's new AI reporters.
A pair of AI-generated avatars have been created to deliver news about rulings and important opinions that have been issued by the justices. Unlike other AI chatbots that summarize information from online sources, the justices and the court's public information team will generate this information.
Take a script from our news release and simply take maybe 20 minutes to feed it into the avatar, so it can go out very quickly. You don't have to hunt someone down to take a video. I really wanted the video because I know that people increasingly get their news by watching a video, and it's very convenient, it's very fast.
The avatars have been named Daniel and Victoria. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, uncovering mysteries of the universe. And it's all happening right here in the West. We'll take you to Arizona, where one telescope is key to space exploration. Plus, finally back home after unexpectedly spending 9 months in space at the International Space Station. A pair of NASA astronauts splashed down back on Earth today. What that journey home was like for them. Tens of thousands of people from around the world are gathering this week in San Jose for NVIDIA's much-anticipated GTC Technology Conference. This event features some of the latest in AI development. Today, NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, unveiled the company's next-generation artificial intelligence chip. The conference is good business, not just for software developers, but also for a lot of small businesses in San Jose.
It's not just the vendors in the park who will experience the economic benefits that tens of thousands of attendees bring. Our entire city center will benefit. Bars and restaurants will make their entire month's rent over the course of a couple of days.
This is only the second year since COVID that the conference is back in person, and it runs through Thursday. A telescope in Arizona is playing a pivotal role in tracking asteroids. Fox 10's Steve Nielsen had a chance to speak with the person in charge of keeping it running.
When this telescope first started taking pictures of the night sky in 2012, it was renowned for its versatility, and it proved that this year as it joined the front lines of planetary defense.
Beyond a half-mile dirt road up a hill in Happy Jack sits a structure hard to miss. Its angles reflecting the sunlight on a Tuesday afternoon. Within it, one of the largest telescopes in the country.
They call us the Swiss Army knife of telescopes.
Lowell Observatory's largest telescope, the Discovery Telescope, is actually 50 miles to the south in Happy Jack. Jake Teagues is one of the mechanics that keeps it operational.
And they have about a mile of power cords, communication cords, fiber optics.
From the only climate-controlled room in the building, he monitors the weather conditions to make sure the doors can be open.
Wind gusts go too high, we have to close everything up. We hit a wind closure, they call it.
Once they are, he tracks which astronomer across the world has access to point the telescope and where, and make sure the 6,000-pound mirror is perfectly in shape. Jake opened the flaps on the mirror and then lowered it down for us to take a look. Under the telescope, you can see the thin 4.3 meter or 14-foot diameter mirror. Mechanisms constantly shift and adjust to make sure it doesn't move even the slightest.
We're talking, yes, in the neighborhood of tens of thousandths of an inch or thousandths of an inch.
The telescope is actually separate from the building to make sure it doesn't shake, rotating on this 14-foot diameter drive gear.
It is one piece of metal that was lathed in Italy, where that's the only place that has a lathe big enough, apparently.
What makes Discovery Telescope unique, the mechanisms on its backside. In just 5 minutes, they can use a different tool to measure something else in the night sky. On other telescopes, that can take a day to swap out.
And no one is mass producing instruments like that. Each instrument that you see on these big research telescopes is bespoke, one of a kind, usually a prototype.
It was helpful as the telescope switched from searching for exoplanets and supernovas to asteroid YR 2024 and monitoring its path. Discovery Telescope gave key data which lowered the chances of an impact with Earth next decade substantially, all thanks to its versatility. After showing it off, it's time to cover the mirrors, tilt it back up, and ready it for the next adventure uncovering the mysteries of the universe from right here in Arizona.
It's too windy right now to open up the doors and let the sunlight in. We'll see about tonight, but the reason they picked this spot, they're operational at some point nearly 300 nights a year. Steve Nielsen, Fox 10 News.
And finally tonight, a dramatic homecoming for 2 NASA astronauts.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
An incredible moment here. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams returned to Earth today. Their SpaceX capsule splashed down off the coast of Florida this afternoon. They hitched a different ride home more than 9 months after issues with their Boeing spacecraft left them stranded on the International Space Station. As the astronauts came out of their capsule late today, they waved and smiled, and then they were hustled away to undergo medical examinations. Wilmore and Williams spent 286 days in space. That is 278 days longer than they were expecting to be there, but we are glad they are back home here on Earth tonight. That does it for West Coast Wrap. We appreciate you watching, and a quick reminder before we head off here, you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering across the West Coast at our website, westcoastwrap.com, and stream our shows on your smart TV with the free Fox Local app. A beautiful look at the sunset here over San Francisco. Have a great night.